Yo, what up? DJ Mo Beat, Scratchin' the Surface podcast. I got the homie Mike Carson in the building.
Yeah.
I'm gonna actually do like an intro before this, kind of giving like more of a background as far
cool.
as you and what you're doing. But just to jump straight into it, what would you say your job title is?
I guess it depends on who's asking.
Okay.
If you're meeting me in a Big Sean space, I'm Big Sean's creative director. If you're meeting me in like a space with another artist, I could be doing a myriad of things, whether it's creative direction for an album or production designing a tour or directing a video. So
Okay.
I guess it depends on.
So you wear a lot of hats, basically.
Yeah, for sure. But I guess most people know me as a creative director now, which is like a thing.
And then, so creative director. Let's take a bit of a rewind.
Yeah.
How did that
I had to school
even?
up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't go to like creative director school.
Oh yeah. Just for anybody at home.
Man, I was in growing up. I always was like filming stuff or like making beats. I was super always into like media.
Okay.
So like going to college, I like opted to not do film school. I was like, I'm gonna go to art school and like major in TV editing so I can get a job. That was always like the thing. Like, you gotta get a job.
Exactly.
So went to a year of school, kind of just started filling it out, started meeting the right people. Long story short, was filming a bunch of stuff and then just kind of filmed my way into this. Like this is like prime 5D 70 era, like when all that stuff dropped. So like free music videos from everybody from Sean to like Chip the Ripper to like doing stuff for like RSVP gallery. So that all just kind of like turned into me becoming, I guess, known as like the guy who was always shooting, and then eventually like a director, if you will. So kind of like skipped a bunch of steps of like, didn't do like the 4 years of school and like internship. I didn't do all that. It was just kind of like learned on the job.
And then the skipping the steps was because of, like you said, learning on the job,
Yeah,
just having a camera, shooting
just like
stuff.
having a camera and like in the moment, like meeting people and being like, all right, cool, yeah, we'll film it, we'll do this for free or whatever it was. Back in that time, it was just like everyone was trying to shoot videos like every weekend. Like it's like, yo, Big Sean's in town. Like, this is when like me and Mike were doing the Roots, and like I met Mike in college, and it was like, yo, Big Sean's in town. Like his manager's trying to get us to shoot a video. Bro. You're not thinking like, oh man, I'm not getting paid. You're like, oh man, this is Big Sean. Like,
yeah, just the opportunity.
so it's like, a bunch of those led to relationships, and over the years, like me and Sean developed a relationship just off of like me and Mike directing videos.
And when you say Mike
Mike
Wax,
Wax,
just so people who
Yeah.
listening, like Mike, like, wait, I
Wax.
thought you were Mike.
Yeah, our Il Roots crew, Mike, me, Mike Wax, Darnell. Yeah, so we all were just like filming stuff and like, meeting a lot of people. Everybody's super early on, like all the guys that are like the guys now or like kind of went through this, this era. So we filmed all these guys in some capacity.
So when you say all these guys,
Say like a Big Sean or a Wiz Khalifa or like J. Cole, like all these like, back then they called it like the blog rap guys back when they came out, but like now they're like the guys.
Yeah, true.
Crazy. Yeah, so like this is 2010-ish. And then from there just kind of developed a relationship with Sean. I don't know how many videos I've done with Sean. And then around 2013, just kind of like stuck my neck out there and was like, I want to do this. In 2012 is like when I really started tapping in with Sean outside of the videos. Like up until then, like we were always rocking, but like 2012 was like, he was like, I'm going on tour. Like I need some visuals. I need some visuals for the screen, or like, I need to like, we were like in there and like learning so much from like, I'm blessed to have some like great mentors like Virgil. Watching those guys and like being around them for like albums and stuff, you kind of get the lay of the land from like a very like from afar, but it's like I always call it like my college years, like 2010 to 2012. Even though I wasn't in college, it was like watching like Virgil,
where you
like,
learned a lot of the stuff.
Virgil or Don C or like these guys. I've been like work on a Kanye album or Watch the Throne, and like being in a room, it's like you kind of get to see, okay, this is how this works. So
kind of be a fly on the wall and just experience.
Yeah, which is like a priceless experience. I'm always grateful for. So yeah, from 2000 like 2012, got my first taste of like this is what tour is in the sense of like a design perspective of like, oh, it's just started with like make some stuff for the screens. I'm like chopping up music videos or like whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Then from there I'm like, this is tight. Like I don't really want to just be directing videos. Like
And
I
then
want to.
so a lot of the stuff with making stuff for the screens, was that when you were doing it then, was it I'm just trying to think of, because I know things have probably progressed as far
Yeah.
as like software and
I
stuff.
mean it
Like
was.
how are you doing it back then?
I mean the same way I would do it now, which is like from there I wasn't designing a stage. It was more so just making content for a screen. So it
Okay.
was like clips I already had or like
Just
stock
chopping
footage,
stuff up.
chopping stuff up in
Okay.
Final Cut or whatever at the time and putting it on the screen. And then from there I'm like, oh, I'm more interested in like this whole thing
Mm-hmm.
of like the live show, from like the lighting to the design to like the set list, all this stuff. So from there I start to like take okay, this might be, a little vibe, a little something I can get into. I want to
Mm-hmm.
say it was like 2013. I was like, I'm gonna probably pause on the music videos, and
Okay.
that was the year I like started. I was technically a Sean's creative director, and then from there it's just kind of been a gradual progression of me learning things and me getting more responsibilities and me people saying, "Oh, you do this, cool." Like I'm like, "Oh yeah, I do this," and it's
Yeah.
like, you kind of learn at some. I learned a lot on like a lot of other people's like expense, but I mean, it worked out.
Yeah, and at the same time, like you come through, like the work is
Yeah,
is on
I'm
point. It's
not.
not you're
I
not
don't have
half
like yeah,
ass.
exactly. I don't have any like. I don't have. I won't say any. I don't have too many like stories where I feel like, man, I let this person down. Or,
Yeah.
like. But it's been a learning process. Like from like 2010 to now, it's like every year I'm like I feel like I'm learning something new. Really every day, I'm just trying to like get better and progress to be like
Yeah.
the best.
So
Yeah.
I definitely I feel like it's steps that we might have skipped or
Yeah.
missed just in the timeline, thinking about of course you didn't mention the working with, Kanye and Jay-Z
Yeah.
kind of vibe. That was like
Yeah.
major.
I mean,
How did that situation even come together?
I was in college and Mike Wax worked at RSVP Gallery, which
Hmm.
is Don C. and Virgil's store in
Yeah,
Chicago at the
Chicago.
time. So I would just come around there, and they were like, "Yo, just do film." So I would like help out over there. A guy that used to co-own it named Mark kind of gave me a shot and was like, "Yo, filming these product videos or like whatever it was." Like they had
Hmm.
like we doing a bunch of odd things. But from there, it's like you meeting Virgil and Don, and at the time, obviously they were still like the guys, but like it wasn't
Hmm.
like now where it's
Yeah.
like Louis Vuitton,
Yeah,
all
it was
this
like the
stuff.
earlier
Yeah,
days.
it's like people still were like, "Oh my God, Virgil," but like it
Hmm.
wasn't like. So man, they just kind of took a shot on me and Mike in like 2010, and like I don't really have like a crazy like elaborate thing with like other than they were like, "Yo, come to New York,"
He was like,
and
all
I
right,
was living in
cool.
Chicago, yeah, and eventually was there enough to where they were like, I was like, I got to drop out of school and like convince my parents that this makes sense, and
Yeah.
yeah, from there it was just like filming a lot of behind the scenes stuff that never came out, and eventually became like the Watch the Throne doc that never dropped. But like all in that time, I was like learning so much, and like
Hmm.
probably in the time I was like probably frustrated, like man, nothing's dropping. But at the same time, I was like, man, I'm here.
It was still a learning experience at the
This is
same
what I've
time.
always dreamed of,
Yeah.
and I'm like 18.
Yeah, true. Yeah, thinking about that. 18 shooting
Yeah,
for
like
it. Yeah.
18, 19. But at the same time, it's like I'm also developing a relationship with Sean completely random, like separately. It wasn't even like connected, which is kind
Mm.
of weird. And then like, around 2012, just kind of went more in the Sean direction.
So at any point in this whole process were you ever like, yo, I don't know if this is gonna work?
Yeah,
All
for
right, was
sure. I mean, you can imagine like looking back on it, it's like no way we should have been in any of those rooms at that
Hmm.
age. But at the time, you're like, man, I'm here. Like this isn't like nothing's coming out or like yada yada. Do they really rock with me?
Yeah, the frustration and
It's
not
like
knowing.
when you're in the moment, it's kind of like sometimes hard to like look at the bigger picture.
Yeah.
But I think those times shaped me for now to where like now I'm not super pressed to if I worked on something and I know it's not coming out like and I feel like I got something out of it, I'm not like feeling like I wasted my time.
Yeah.
Not to say just that, but just like overall, I feel like I learned so much just about like, respecting people's space, or like being like private, or like not being hype, or like being a fly on the wall, like all these things that I feel like even today when I'm in the rooms and I'm like, people are inviting me there, it's like I still have to use all these things.
Yeah.
So yeah, it definitely was times it's times today where it's like, man, like I think we all like have self-doubt at times, but you kind of like, if you have a strong foundation or the right people around you to remind you, you're doing the right thing, or if you have like an end goal you can see, or it mapped out or whatever, I feel like it's easy to get out of that.
Yeah, that's true.
If you have, the right foundation.
Man, so like I said, it's totally, it's not really scripted. I just have
that's
like
cool,
topics, and then we just gonna just just chop it some more. But so you're saying you were kind of getting out of shooting videos, and then more like creative direction. Was just like a natural progression? We're just like, all right, this is the next step in me and what I'm trying to do.
Yes and no. Like, it was a gradual progression, but also it was kind of getting to the point where like I wasn't feeling fulfilled with spending a bunch of time doing videos.
Okay.
Like a proper label music video process is extremely draining. Like, people don't know. Like,
so yeah, from like what parts? Because
like,
of course there's like budgets, and this and that.
So starting with like, hey, I got I want you to do my videos. All right, cool. Send me the song. Sometimes you get the idea instantly. Sometimes it's like you're wrecking your brain for idea. And then it's like, all right, cool. I wrecked my brain for this idea I stayed up for 2 days straight. You send it in, and they're like, all right, cool. And then somebody has to do a budget. And then you find out the budget was way lower than they said it was.
So that changes stuff.
Then you have to rethink your idea. This is literally every time. And then like you finally get there, and then it's like you might be working with an artist that's 4 hours late, or you might have like a video commissioner from a label that's like, yo, we got to make sure we get this shot of these girls doing it. You're like, man, that wasn't the vibe. You're like, you got to do, it's like, it's a lot. And then you have to edit it, and then it's like, all right, cool, you think you have a great edit. And the artist might be like, yo, I don't like the way my chin looks in this shot. And you're like, yo, this is the craziest shot ever. Like, but it is like,
dang.
And then it's like, all right, cool. It's a thing, obviously if you love it, you'll do anything you love.
Yeah.
But I kind of got to the point where I was like doing videos for like, I feel like the videos we did with Sean were like all dope and like served a purpose. But like sometimes when I would do something for someone else, you spend all this time, you don't really get that fulfillment.
Yeah.
At the time, I was just like, And this other thing, Sean was giving me more responsibility, so I'm like, I kind of want to go this way with it.
Yeah, for that.
And I still do, I haven't done a video in a minute, but like I'm getting back into that now. Like this year.
I'm bossed up right now.
Nah, not even that. Like, yeah, I just feel like we all have to like figure out what is us in a sense, and like I feel like it was some challenges I wanted to achieve myself, and like learn some things myself and establish myself as whatever. And now I feel like this is a perfect time to be like, let me hop back in this, because I feel like I have the knowledge, and I've like traveled enough, and I like know the right people now. Like I've seen the right movies to like be able to like really execute an idea that I probably wouldn't have been able to do even 2-3 years ago in the last video I did.
So going back to when we were talking about videos, and then dealing with budgets and all this other stuff. What was one of the first videos where it's like via a major label, and it's like, yo, you got this budget, and maybe it was more than you expected or less than you expected? Maybe both sides of the spectrum, where it's like, have you ever done a video and they gave you more bread than what you expected?
Never.
Damn.
That's why I'm trying to like, really tap in this year, and like, like really, I don't think it's ever gonna happen in music. Like,
I think like, times have definitely changed, like video wise.
Well, what's crazy is coming back around.
Okay.
Like, so like 2010, when everyone was making these 5D videos, it really messed the game up, and like all the big dogs and stuff, you were kind of seeing them fall back, because it's like, the labels aren't gonna spend $500 on a video anymore. But it's starting to get to the point where you're seeing these videos now, and I know how much these things cost. So I'm like, yo, they're spending money again.
So people caring like more about the quality and the content and stuff.
You have a Drake or a Beyonce or Taylor Swift or like even Travis Scott now, where it's like you can tell the money is being spent, and it's like dope to see because it's like, man, people really care. It's starting to get back to that. Not saying like, Lil Nas X is about to have like a crazy video right now, but like I think it's getting back to like, you're seeing like Dave Meyers, the director, is like back doing video, so like that 500,000 videos coming back, I think, but we'll see.
Well, hopefully.
Yeah, holler at me, guys.
Yeah, you got the budget right. You know what I'm saying? My man's to get you situated.
But I think like the career, like, a lot of guys' trajectory is always like, do the music videos and then hopefully you get into commercials and then hopefully you get a feature film out of this. But that's not really like my goal. It's like when I was younger, it was like you think you want to be like a film director. But now I'm like to the point where like my attention span is so messed up to where it's like I can't even really sit through a movie now. I couldn't even imagine
something about directing.
Directing a movie for like 2 years, whatever it is.
So what's on the horizon for you work wise? Like, what do you see?
Man, really excited about this new Big Sean album. I feel like we're like all in on it. It's like everything we've learned these past 10 years collectively, I feel like we're putting in effect on this one, and like we're not gonna make the mistakes we've made in the past. Knock on wood. Yeah, man, just really progressing and showing people like the height of all of our abilities, whether it's rollout or video or like tour or live performances, whatever, merch. Like I feel like it's really gonna be the one. Just we've had a lot of time to work on it, and I think everyone's invested in it. And then on the other side, just my own like a 92 group is like something I like established a few years ago as a business, but like really taking it to the next level, if you will, in a sense of like structure and like
So what exactly?
So like the 92 group is kind of what I do business under outside of like everybody else's stuff I do, but really kind of trying to develop it into like a boutique agency. If an artist is like, I need you to do my album packaging, or clothing like Nike is like, we need you to do this like installation, or pop stars like, we need you to do this tour.
So is it kind of like delegating certain things if you can't necessarily be right there
and oversee it all? But that's like the hardest part, is like finding people like,
true, that's somebody who can get the job done.
But I have some like-minded people like I'm like I love to work with. So man, like on the flip side of all the Sean stuff, really like taking time to dive into the business aspect of having a business. Like that's, I know everyone like says like everybody's an entrepreneur, but it's really like it's really a lot.
No, definitely.
It's like it's not a easy feat, especially if you want to do it right and you're just not trying to like hop in and do, 'cause it's like we all have enough connections and like stuff to just say we got this thing and like pop it off. I can be like, I got this, and it's just like I'm not trying to do anything that's not right,
Yeah, it's definitely a learning process, and it's good you're doing it this way. Like, learn.
We're reading books,
man. Yeah, we on these books, man. Get this knowledge. Like that's the wave.
Yeah, man. It's cool though, because it's like we're in the information age more than ever. It's like being a kid right now versus being like 18 right now versus being 18 in like 2010 is so much more information that you might not have to run and do all the traditional routes that
I swear
everybody said, even like down to this, like this is a podcast, it's like
thinking about it, a kid back at home listening on their phone to this about everything that we talking about, like it's way different now.
Yeah, man. I saw somewhere, I think I can't remember who said it, but like they're like, man, YouTube is like the new trade school.
Yeah, I'm on there. I'm literally on YouTube every day.
Me too, and it's like
tutorials.
Me and Mo are two people that you can say people might say are established or whatever, but it's like, man, I've been editing my whole life or whatever, but I'm like, man, if I'm gonna like tap back into this field, I need to like really make sure I'm at the best of my abilities. And there's so much I don't know. Like I've just been like, I bought an iMac Pro like a couple weeks ago, and I'm like just diving fully right back into it.
That's the way, man.
Like, oh man, this is like, and then on the flip side, like, studying films or like art history, whatever it is. It's like it's no excuse anymore to like not have the information.
Literally, like you said, YouTube is almost like a university. Like literally,
it's crazy
tutorials on whatever you want to know.
It's literally free. It's on your phone. It's on your laptop. It's like, man, if you have Wi-Fi or go to the library and get Wi-Fi, it's like do the research. It's like you don't have to really guess anymore. And like the access to people, it's like you can leave a comment on somebody's Instagram that you admire or DM or something, and they might respond to you.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy.
Legit.
They might hit you back and be like, yo, actually, this is what I did. I like, people hit me up sometimes, and sometimes I do respond. When I find out of time, I'm like, yo, I do this. It's like, I was, like I said, I was blessed at 18 to have people like Virgil or whatever. That's kind of like a freak accident of like.
Yeah, very rare.
Yeah, but like now, I feel like it's really no excuse. If you're like, if you have the vision and the drive, it's like you can, put it together in the house.
No, true. So like say, man, so anybody who would want to kind of do some of the stuff that you're doing or that you have done, what kind of advice would you have for them in terms of like getting there, like, or don't do this or make sure you do this? You know what I'm saying?
I think now the concept of like creative director has become like it was a point where I was like, man, I don't even want to like say I'm a creative director because everybody's saying they're a creative director.
Yeah.
It's like, but I'm definitely proud of the fact that I have a lot of the talents that I creative direct. For example, I have a background in video, I have a background in photography, I have a background in design, I have a background in whatever. So it's like I can speak the language of someone who I might be, hiring or overseeing to do something. So it's not
you like really know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
It's not just, I just got a title.
Exactly. Yeah. It's not just like, obviously some things I don't have all the answers on, but I'm like, I don't have the answers on, so let me, research about it. Or I come to that field from like a place of like, let me learn or, whatever. Yeah. So, man, really the advice is like, if you want to be a creative director, I feel like that's such a vague thing. I feel like if you're like, yo, I want to be a creative director for a ad agency, that's like one thing. It's like you probably should focus on like really tap into the advertising world, focus on like graphic design and like whatever. But if you're like, yo, I want to be a creative director for a musician, I feel like that's the most wide open thing to where it's like start to hone in on these like all the aspects of it. So it's like study the music video, study the album packaging, see who's the best in this field, study their path, study how they, that's what I do. Even to this day, it's like I see something, I'm like, man, who did this? And I go look up who the person is
right out there.
It's like, who taught them? What are their influences? What are like, what's like the films that they, there's so many interviews on like, even if it's like the rarest person, like there's at least one interview on this person that'll get you going, that'll lead you to like 10 other things. That's like the one thing about YouTube is like you watch one video.
I get trapped.
There's like 20 videos on the side. So
exactly.
It's really just, man, just inform yourself and like the most information you possibly can get is like, And if you're like, yo, I'm in Idaho, yada, yada, it's like, man, who's the best? And you feel like you're at a place where you're like, I have all this talent, but I don't have anyone to get it off on. It's like, find who's the best rapper in Idaho who you believe in and say, yo, I got this idea, let's do this, yada, yada, work for free, figure it out. And that's how it goes. It's like, I feel like now is the time more than ever. It's so much easier, man. Not to like
with the internet,
not to downplay like, how hard things are, but like just overall, even as an artist, as a rapper, it's so much easier than it was in 2010 because it's like the internet and just like accessibility, the streaming, all these things. It's like no excuse not to get there. It's like.
Man, you're super correct. And then one thing I was gonna jump to is Gary Vee. He talks about something where like, I don't know if you wouldn't necessarily call it a strategy, but basically reaching out to people like every day, like just DMing, not just like I'm a DM one person or 5 people, like yo DM a bunch of people, like yo, I'll do such and such and such, like let's. If you're down, like I'll do this. I'll work. You know what I'm saying? Like,
for sure.
Actually be hungry and and go out and get it.
Nothing's promised, man. Nothing. You can't feel entitled. Like even now, man, I'm like anything I feel like and I don't feel like I'm 100 in any field. So I'm always like, who's like, if such and such call me tomorrow, like, yo, I want to work with you, or like, yo, I'll give you a shot. It's like, it's certain people that I would drop things I have right now to go work for free because I know I'll get like the knowledge or like the experience out of it that'll help me, in the long run, more so than like me taking this job for a lot of money that's not going to get me anywhere if you have the luxury of doing that.
So I know you've already worked with a lot of artists, of course, but like is there anybody on the list that you haven't that you want to work with anytime soon?
This list changes a lot. Dang, who did I say I wanted to work with this year?
And wait, and so you said the list changes. Does it change on like based on like, oh, I just saw one of their performances and it was trash, I'm off you? Or like
not so much, more so like it might change because I actually work with this person, or it might change because I like feel like, is that really where I want to go with it?
Okay.
I think obviously like I would love to work with like Beyonce, like that's tight.
And that doesn't even seem far-fetched. Like, man, it's already connected. Like,
man, you never know. Jay, I would love to do something with Ye again, like in this space. I don't know. I got to think about it. We might have to come back to this question.
So it means maybe a part 2, or I'll add that in the show notes.
Or maybe I'll just like think of it in the next 5 minutes.
Yeah. Man, I'm trying to think what other things do you want to touch on. So start from the beginning. Boom. Yeah, what's on your heart right now, man? You got something that you want to...
I got some on my heart for another podcast.
Okay, cool. All right, bet. That'll be for the next one. But yeah, we almost been rolling for 30 minutes now, so it's a pretty solid vibe. Videos. How soon you think you're gonna jump back into doing videos?
Pretty soon, guys.
Like, you already shooting some stuff right now, or okay. I want to get a spoiler alert.
Yeah, I'm tapped in.
Yeah, just know he coming back for the videos. But yeah, man, I guess we'll give it a wrap up. But where can they find you on social media? What's all your handles?
Man, the only handle, Instagram at Mike Carson.
Yeah, and I noticed you're one of the people where it's like be on social media, but kind of like chilling. Like,
I don't really,
you'll watch, you'll see what's going on. But
yeah, I'm a lurker.
Yeah. So yeah, man, make sure y'all follow.
Hit me on Instagram, man. Send me a DM, whatever. I usually respond.
Yes.
As long as you're like not trying to have me wear some like beads or something.
Oh yeah, that is a thing. That definitely is a thing. But yeah, follow him on IG at DJ Mo Beat, Scratchin the Service Podcast. It's a wrap.
Peace.
Yeah.